Hello. I have an English breakfast tea today. We help on this dreary day. But I wanted to share the story of the second person I dated after my divorce. I mentioned previously the big three was kind of a significant thing, and I did learn some pretty big lessons from them. I wish I would have taken them completely to heart sooner than I did, but sometimes things take a while to process. I met him at work, actually, and I have a pretty big don't date people where you work rule, and I stand by that rule. I had recently been promoted to management at my job, and so they sent me to another store. I'm in retail, and they sent me to another store, and so I was only going to be in that other store for, I think, 4 to 6 weeks. I can't remember how long I stayed. This was a while ago. But the whole, don't date where you work rule was kind of a gray area because I wasn't really going to see him again. I didn't have to work with him regularly, right? When we saw each other from across the room, it was instant electricity. I have never experienced that with anyone before. Not this type of electricity. It was like the moment our bodies were in the room together, we weren't even looking at each other. We could sense each other somehow. It was so strange, and I haven't really looked into what it means or what it is, like psychologically or spiritually or whatever. You might get into that, but we looked up at each other, and there was this connection when our eyes met that I don't know. It was almost terrifying how drawn to each other we were. And we kind of danced around a little bit, and I was kind of flirty, and I pretended I didn't know what kind of charger I needed on my phone, and that kind of thing, to get his phone number. It was cute. We went on a few dates. Things went really well. We had some things in common, but he wasn't really looking for anything serious, and I wasn't sure what I was looking for because I was fresh off of an 18-year marriage. And we actually dated on and off for a few months until I kind of was in this mode of, well, he doesn't know what he wants. I don't know what I want. Let's just see what happens and see where it goes. And it was exciting, and he was fun to hang out with. And it was nice to meet somebody new, somebody, from a different world than I was from. So all of that was really interesting and fun. And my therapist at the time was encouraging me to just go out and meet people. Just to be honest with where I was at, obviously, and not go past any of my own personal boundaries. But meeting people was really important. I don't know if you guys saw that movie about the lady that broke up with a guy and didn't even know what kind of eggs she liked. That's kind of where I was at. I'd been with my ex-husband for so long, and I had been stuck in his mode of doing things for so many years that I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know who I was anymore. So I was kind of following her advice and just kind of, being honest and communicating with where I was at, but also just being open to spending time with people. So I did definitely get wrapped up in the potential, as things progress, the potential that maybe he would change his mind and want something more permanent. And I think that's the lesson that I had to learn, and I should have learned it with him, but it took me several more encounters with different people to really learn it, is that people tell you who they are immediately. They tell you, or they show you, or a combination, but you can know right off the bat where somebody's headed and what they want instantly. It's not a question. The question is in, sorry, my hair is sticking out. I can't wait till it grows. The question is in if you can accept what they are telling you. And I think that was the lesson that I should have learned with him. And I've learned it now, thankfully, but there's been some heartache on the way, unfortunately. Yeah, there was no question that he didn't want anything serious, and that it was a complete waste of my time. It was fun, but it didn't lead anywhere. And there are memories that I have no one to share with now. And there's nothing to show for it. So I think even though it was fun in the moment, it was a complete waste of my time. I could have been focusing more on my career, the things, my personal goals, my time with my kids, all of that lasts. And this, moment or moments with this guy that told me he didn't want anything serious from the start. And I thought, oh, maybe if I just show him I'm cool or show him I'm awesome, he'll change his mind and he'll want something. And I mean, for his side, he definitely breadcrumbed. If you're not familiar with that term, go look it up. But basically, you're just like leading somebody along with little bits of bread, little pieces of what they want in order to get them hooked. And he definitely did that. I was naive enough to kind of fall into that trap and follow those breadcrumbs and think that that meant that he was thinking about something serious. But after a few months, I had enough, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I told him that I was moving on and wished him well. And of course, we bump into each other here and there, and he'd always be, if you're still looking for something casual, then, I'm up for that. And I'm just not a casual kind of person. I never have been. I don't think I ever will be. I don't know if I'm just too like black and white about it, but I don't see value in the casual kind of here and there. Once I realized that no matter what I did or who I was, it wouldn't change his mind, there was nothing left for me. And I think that's a hard thing for us to learn in the dating world for both men and women. If we're going at it for the wrong reasons and we're trying to kind of boost ourselves and prove to ourselves that we're worth being chosen, we're going to get ourselves into some sticky situations, because it's not about if we're worth being chosen. It's about who we are choosing. And it took me that experience and a few others to realize that in my entire life, I had been worried about if I would be chosen when I needed to worry about who I was choosing. And I will be honest, that's still a intentional conversation that I have within myself, because that people-pleasing streak is very strong, and I do tend to kind of lean into that. Well, what will they think? Or what if I did it this way? Maybe they'll like me this way. And I have to intentionally stop myself and say, you know what? I am my person. I'm a growing and healing and healthy person. Now, who is this person worth adding into my life that I have worked so hard to make healthy and whole? And that's not a judgment on the other person. Many times it's just acknowledging that we're in different places and we're not a good match. You wouldn't put pineapple with pears necessarily. I don't know, somebody might, but I wouldn't. I hate oranges with chocolate, but some people love oranges with chocolate. That doesn't mean that oranges with chocolate is wrong. It just means that oranges with chocolate is not for me. And I think a lot of dating turns into this whole like, oh, they hate me, they're rejecting me. But that's not what it is. It's just not your preference. It's not where you're at. It's not a good fit. We all have our preferences. Like the type of couch that I want in my house is not going to be the same type of couch. I'm a night owl. It wouldn't make sense for me to be with somebody who's an early bird. So there's just these things that we're trying to navigate. And then you add in having kids to that. And it's not as much of a rejection as it is an acknowledgement that it's not a good fit. And I think that's really something that you have to grow and be secure in yourself in order to understand that you're not being rejected. It's just not a good fit. And in this case, he wanted something casual. I wanted something serious. I chose to waste my own time by sticking around and seeing if I could change his mind. And now I know that that's just not worth it. Like if we're looking for different things off the bat, there's no point. Thanks for the like or thanks for the ad, but we're just looking for different things. So wish them well and move on. It's not this big, huge, dramatic thing. We're just not looking for the same things. And it took me a while to learn that, but I'm really grateful that I have now. And it saved me a lot of time, because people tell you what they want and they tell you who they are right off the bat, and you should believe them the first time so you don't waste yours or their time.